Again, this week we're going to look at 10 images that stood out on the community feed generated with version number 5 this time. We compare the images here. So we have here the version 5 generated images that are pretty nice, I would say. And here we have the version 4 generated images. As most of you probably know, MidJourney rolled out version number 5 last week. I'm not sure if it's available for everybody, but if you go to the announcement, you will see that you can put in actually version number 5 and it's, so to say, in beta. And if you go to the community feed, I think you need a paid plan for that. You can go through all the images. You will see in this case on top in red, it says here version 5 upscale. So we can be sure it's a version 5 image that we're looking at. And I want to start with this one, and you will notice that actually in the version 5 upscales or on the version 5 generated images, the faces and the fingers and everything is much better and much more photorealistic. And like always, I want to look at the image prompt because the image prompts are now a little different. The image prompt should be longer and more like you would speak them, because I'm quite sure in the next version of MidJourney it will be possible to speak the prompts and not to write them anymore. And this is why now already in MidJourney version number 5 they asked us to prompt in a different way to make it more like a sentence, more like a natural language pattern. So if you look at this here, alluring old woman, not hot like Megan Fox, but hot like she's been through a lot and could probably beat you up if she had to. So it's a pretty funny, weird image prompt, I would say. If you look at the image in more detail and zoom it in, you see it's very good. So the eyes, the hairs and everything, the face, the tone of the skin is very good. And again, we want to just copy the full image prompt and generate it ourselves. Copy it in and I see very strange here it says version 5, version 4. And this I guess is because I have not changed my settings. I will just try that. So if you want to change your settings or find out what your settings are, you just go settings and see what comes up. And in this case, I have activated version 5 here. I will just make sure that in the image prompt, there is no version 4 inside. You don't have to change it in the settings. You could also just put version 5 after it. I will also prompt it in the version number 4. So we'll just remove the 5 here and we use version 4. We compare the images here. So we have here the version 5 generated images that are pretty nice, I would say. And here we have the version 4 generated images that are also pretty okay, but they look more like a oil painting, I would say. So let's have a look at this burger because we have done some burgers in the past and the results were pretty good. So if you look at the image description, it's just an explanation. It says here cheeseburger and then it adds all the ingredients here and we get a burger like that. And if you look down here, we always check if this was generated by version number 4. This is version number 4, this is version number 4, this is all version number 4 it looks like, and this is a version 5 generated burger. So if I zoom in on it, so you could really use it for your menu. You don't need to hire some photographer anymore. So I put in the image prompt here and it says version 5 here, as you can see. I just execute it here. I will also do another one and change that to version 4 so we can see what are actually now the differences. If you compare them again, this is a version 4 generated burger. Like I said, it's okay. It could be in some small fast food store and you saw some pictures like that maybe, but you don't really want to eat that, right? And then we have this guy, and this is really very nice. You really want to eat that. Look at the bread. Look how original or how real that looks. This is really great, I would say. I also found that Indian here and I think it's really very well done. So I also want to look at this creation. If you look down at the image prompt again, it's Indian warrior, Cherokee, Cherokee outfit, Cherokee tattoos, tattooed face, medium shot portrait, close-up portrait, face frontal HD shot photography by Wes Anderson. We copy that, just copy the command in again, make sure it's version 5, and I also will try it with version 4. So again, these are the version 5 generated images. They really look very good. You see the horns are inside of this head, and the skin tone is very good. And if we go over to the version number 4 generated ones, it's also pretty good, but here it looks more like the horns are coming out of his head. The skin tone is not that good. The tattoos are also more like they would be painted on the people, and this is a pretty good version already, but the other version is much better, as you see here, because this really looks like it's painted with this Indian, with this color, with this tone color. This is really very nice. These are pretty good results. To bring in some more different image styles, I also found this bird that I think is pretty fascinating, how you can generate that, and it looks really realistic. So let's look at the image prompt first, and it's a very simple image prompt again. Bird photography, red cardinal in the snow on a red berry tree, beautiful light, raking light, 8K wallpaper. Let's copy this, and as you will see, there is an image, there's a picture inside. So if I click on this picture, it's probably a bird. Yes, that's very interesting. So he uploaded this picture of the bird, and MidJourney actually generated a very similar image out of that. So if we compare it again here on a bigger view, this is the version 5 generated image. You see the light is really good. It really looks perfect, like a photograph. Very nice. If we go over to the version 4 generated, it's also pretty good, but especially here you see it's not so okay. The light is also not very good, and the bird here, it looks like the bird, there's something wrong with the bird. So also in this case, the version 5 seems to be much better. This is also a very nice image style, so let's have a look how this was actually generated. So there's a heart, and we know that MidJourney is actually able to read emotions and put them into the image generation process. And it says here heart, Estashi Bashir owned watercolor, pencil, digital illustration, Jesus abstract, psychedelic X pills, trippy work, Cherry Washington. So I don't know what that exactly is, but imagine we have the 5 inside, and then we try it also with version number 4. So let's look at the outcome. This is the outcome of version number 5, which is pretty good, I would say. We have a look at this, but it's a very different image style than in version number 4 example. So maybe for some of the artists, it is better still to use version 4 or just go back to version number 4 for some of the images, depending what you want, right? Because I prefer actually for this image style, I prefer version number 4 to generate these images for me. I also find Grugo, so we have to look at Grugo, of course. So let's have a look at the image prompt. It says here, hyper detailed and photorealistic photograph portrait of Grugo, the character from the TV series The Mandalorian. Go and copy and full command. We try Grugo with version 5 and we try Grugo with version 4. So this is Grugo generated with version number 5, and I think the problem is here that they somehow mixed in the gremlins. So if you look at this, this looks more like a gremlin than Grugo. This is pretty good, I would say here, but this is more like a gremlin. If you look at version number 4, but we can still see that the improvements are very good, because this also doesn't really look like, this is like not very good, right? This is also more like a gremlin. This version is maybe okay, but the version number 5 is much better, as you see. Maybe this one is the best one. I also found this one, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty realistic. So let's have a look how she generated that ultra-realistic 8K 20-year-old Asian footballer, Evie Legue haircut, face forward portrait from neck up, fitting all of head and hair in frame, wearing random kit. Copy out version 5 just to check. Then we generate also one with version number 4 like always. So this is the outcome with version number 5, which is not bad. But you see, it's a lot about the image prompt, because you see this doesn't really look photorealistic. The details are all okay, but it doesn't really look too photorealistic. Maybe this one. But if we go over to version 4, you see it's much, much better now, because none of these images look actually photorealistic. So version 5 is able to make the images much better, and it's all about your image prompt as well. So you have to modify to make this lightning better, or the texture, or you can improve this one. One last image I want to look at, and this is because of the many faces. So I'm curious if MidJourney is able now to get the faces much better. 4K photo of happy dancing crowd in the nightclub. Put some neon lights on the photo. This was the image prompt. We'll just take the image prompt again, one with version number 5, another one with version number 4. So, and this is the outcome of the party people we have here. A lot of faces, as you see, and the faces look pretty good. Of course, it's pretty dark and we can't see much, but these faces look very good, and it looks very photorealistic again. All the scenes look very good. These fingers maybe a little messed up, but everything else is pretty good and looks pretty natural. So you cannot tell if this is real or not real, I would say. If we go over to the version number 4 generated one, you will notice that MidJourney tries always to have just one face or no faces at all. So there's one lady here, the face is pretty messed up. She was drinking too much, maybe already, as you can tell. Here there's no faces, it's just people from behind. And of course, again, this is much, much better and much more photorealistic. So this was it from this week's images, and I hope it was useful to you. I hope you could see how much better the version number 5 is generating now, how much more photorealistic these images are now. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, leave a like and leave some comments what you like about version 5, if you're already using version 5, and what you think. So all the best for you. I see you in one of my next videos. Take care. Bye bye. See you.